Hi, folks. So, I mentioned before about the point that, with regards to Mrs. B, it's going to be incredibly difficult for her to reach her potential in where she is in those churches. That is true. That doesn't mean in any way, shape, or form that the leaders of those churches will be responsible for her destination. Because it is still very, very much a case. As I say, you have the tools. If you have the tools, it means that you are responsible, even though the places you choose to be in might be places that are going to be blocking your growth. You choose them. And that's the point. Those places can't be chosen for you. And again, what you choose to focus on, you choose. If you choose to focus on people and look to people for the answers, then yeah, that's going to block your growth. If you choose to look to other books, if you choose to look to the internet for the answers, that's going to block your growth. Because you have truth, but you don't have complete truth. You have a perversion of truth in all these things, whether it be, even if you get the most ideal person in church. If I was a wonderful teacher in a church and people were coming to me and I was actually giving my opinion rather than pointing them to God, you'd still be getting a perversion of truth. Even if I was a truth sayer, you'd still be getting a perversion of truth, because if I'm not pointing you to God, then I'm not doing my job. If I'm trying to give you my opinion, if you're asking me my opinion on something, then what you're getting is a perversion of truth. You won't be getting truth, because my opinion is made up of truth and tons of other stuff. So you'll be getting the truth and the tons of other stuff when you ask my opinion. And so, yeah. So when you look to people and answers from people, that's what you're going to get. It would always be a perversion of truth. And so, it's like, okay, I've sort of skirted around this point. But for someone like Mrs. B, it's, I do feel sorry for her. I really do. Well, because the way, the situation she's in right now, she's in a situation that's similar to, she's in a house that's on fire, but she's afraid of getting burned. Right? The point of it is, if you don't do something, if you try and get out the house, if you're in a house that's on fire, if you try and get out of it, you might get burned. If you stay in that house, chances are you're going to die. She's in that situation where going to God and having to admit she's wrong in one little area could open the floodgates, and her life could completely fall apart. She knows this. She knows if she goes to God about banning me from church or whatever, if she goes to God about that, if any conviction comes in about that, in the back of her mind, there is that point where she's also thinking, okay, what if God says that what he said in 2021 is true? What if I was wrong about that? Suddenly, her whole world falls apart. Now, do I think God would tell her she's wrong? I don't know. I don't care. I don't know. I don't care. It's not my concern at all in any way, shape or form. I'd hope that if God was going to say anything about it, he would say that she's with the right person. That maybe she's with the wrong person, but God has adjusted that, and she's now with the person she's going to be with. Because I don't need the stupidity of having to deal with that crap in the future. No. No. That's not something that I'm looking at and thinking, yeah, I'd love to have that nonsense in the future. I'd love to have that. Yeah. With this person who has banned me, blocked me from speaking to her on Facebook, then banned me from church, or asked the pastor to do so. Now saying, sorry, I was wrong, forgive me. Yeah, go take a run and jump. Forgive me, sod off. Sod off. It's not about forgiveness, it's about trust. And you've proved to me with no doubt at all that I could never trust you. Trust is the point. I say she doesn't need me to forgive her because I don't hold that against her. Don't care. Whether she's right or wrong, I don't care. I really don't. As I said last night, the reality is what I thought the relationship with her would be. Well, God's given me everything. Everything. So therefore, yeah. What I believed the relationship was going to be and was going to do for me, well, God said no. You have a relationship with me, and that's going to deal with that. So, cool. Yeah, I don't care about anything like that now. So therefore, yeah. But as I say, for her, in her situation, yeah. I understand it's going to be difficult. I understand, why it was easier for her to just ask the pastor just to take that problem away. Yeah. Because having to face that situation, because that's the point. If she sees me in church, if I keep coming into church while she's in church, at some point in time she's going to have to speak to me. She doesn't want to do that. Is there a possibility, even the slightest possibility, that on the 19th of September 2021, her spirit recognized something in me, and that she knows that? Yeah. Yeah, I think in the back of her mind, I think she knows that, yeah. I think she does. And I think that that's the reason why, one of the main reasons why she asked the pastor to not let me come to the church. So, dealing with that? Yeah. I'm not going to say for a second that would be an easy thing to deal with. No, of course not. We'll put it this way. Because if God tells her that that's the case, or if she comes to that understanding herself, she has to deal with the relationship she's in, and she has to end that relationship and hurt that man. Then she has to realise that all the growth that I've had over the past 3 years, she could have had that. She could have been part of that. And she lost that. She didn't just lose that, but she could have been supporting me during that, and she lost that. So, yeah, the devil, he plays games, and of course he would play games with her because that's what he does. He plays games, and upon conviction, he would try and tell her that things are a damn sight bloody worse for her than they really are. And I can't help her. Not in any way, shape or form. I cannot help her. She has to go to Father on this, and she has to learn to deal with that, if that's God's plan for her. But to say that that's an incredibly difficult thing to do, oh yes. Yes, indeed. An incredibly difficult thing to do. Yeah. Yeah. But I have said before, and I do believe it is true, that for people to come to a point where they can have a relationship with Father, they need to be broken. And what I've just described is her being broken. Well, that yes, if she comes through that, she would have to be broken. But as I say, she's still standing in that home that's on fire. Is she going to be willing to get burned? To stop herself from being burned to death? Well, time will tell. You take care. God bless. Bye-bye.